Hi everyone. So first things first, comic reviews. I just was way too busy last week to do them, so you'll be getting a double review for this upcoming Wednesday. And I was just sitting here shooting some stuff for an episode of Geeky Gentleman. Hopefully, I'll get to use it and everything. And I had some thoughts, and since I was a video short this week, I thought it'd be fun to post this. So I'll say spoilers right away. This is obviously about The Force Awakens and the character of Rey. Um, so this is mostly about, and once again, spoilers, Rey's connection with the Force. Because I've heard a lot of people complaining about how she's able to use her powers so quickly and she's able to so easily overpower Kylo Ren when he's supposed to be this, awesome Force user, and he doesn't, like, he seems to be really powerful in the beginning and get less and less powerful, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that too. So the first thing is how quickly she comes into using all her powers. And keeping in, I got two examples of what I think is going on. This is just fan theory kind of stuff, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about. So, trying to think where to start here. So she's very quickly, once she learns she has the ability to use the Force by interacting with Kylo Ren, she very quickly, she does the mind trick, and then she does the lightsaber pull, and then she's able to go toe to toe with him, and with Kylo Ren in the snow. There's a lot of very quickly utilized Force powers, and the prevailing theory is she's gonna be like either Luke's daughter or Han and Leia's other kid that was like hidden to protect her from Kylo. And I'm not going to be mad if either of those things are the case. Everyone's, tripping over themselves to predict whose kid she is. Personally, I hope that she's no one's kid. Like, no one, not virgin birth kind of thing. I hope she isn't a kid of a character of any significance whatsoever. I hope she's completely and totally, like, an obscure lineage, whatever. And I hope that her having Force powers scared the living shit out of her parents. And that's why she was abandoned on Jakku. My reasoning for this comes from, I'll go with an in-continuity example first. If you watch the Clone Wars cartoon show, the 3D one, there's an episode where Sidious hires Cad Bane to steal some information from the Jedi Temple that leads him to Force-sensitive children around the galaxy. And then Sidious further hires him to go kidnap these children so that he can turn them into dark side Force-wielding Sith assassins, and he could just have them scattered throughout the galaxy to do his bidding. How to go from here? In that episode, you see a child who is going to, or who's destined, if you will, to become a Jedi, and he's like less than 2 years old, which, as most people know, is really before most people have memories. He's able to manipulate blocks using the Force, levitate them, kind of like you see Anakin do with the pear or whatever, in Attack the Clones. Not a good movie, but I'll take an example where I can. So you have a kid who's clearly Force attuned, and he just doesn't know that he can't do this yet. He's just able to. And so my theory with Rey is that she, as a child, displayed Force capability, and that scared the living shit out of her parents, and that's why they abandoned her. Now, this, of course, leads into the question of, before I get to this question, it's similar, and I wanted to go with the incontinuity example to prove that this has been established in current Star Wars canon, and I imagine in old EU canon. But I'll go out of franchise to give a similar example that more people are probably familiar with. So you have Harry Potter. In the first film, in the first book, there's that scene where they go to the zoo. And Harry talks to the snake and makes the glass disappear, which causes his cousin to fall into the enclosure, and the glass reappears and he's caught on the other side. One of the best scenes in the movie. So you have an example there of Harry Potter using magical capability before he realizes that he even can. And he's shocked by it, and when he's trying to explain it to his uncle, he uses the phrase, "I don't know what happened, the glass was there, and then it wasn't, and then it was again, it was like magic." And his uncle says, "There's no such thing as magic," and like slams the cupboard door or whatever. Which leads back into the argument. So, you get the argument, well, if she had force powers when she was a kid, and that's why she was left on Jakku, then why didn't she know she was a force user and explore those powers while she was alone on Jakku? Or why didn't she use them at any other point? They seem like they would have been very, very useful. And that argument is twofold. I'm going to go to Empire for my first example. You have Luke on Dagobah training under Yoda, and I sound so like I know all the names, and you just got to deal with it. I sound so nerdy, but I promise I'm not that big. So you got Luke training with Yoda, and the X-wing is stuck in the swamp, and he tries to lift it out of the swamp, but he can't, and he says it's just too big. And then Yoda, to prove to Luke that it can be done, does it. And Luke says something to the effect of, "I can't believe it." And then Yoda has this fantastic line, which is, "And that is why you fail." Try, there is do or do not, there is no try. That is why you fail are some of Yoda's best lines in Empire. And that really has to do with the idea that once you are introduced... It has to do with why kids are taken and trained to be Jedi when they're so young. Because they're not aware that what they're doing isn't possible. Because, they have all these abilities when they're a child, and they're just raw potential at that point. But you have people who won't allow them to do these things, won't let them try to do these incredible feats, because it's not possible. It's not possible for anyone else, so it shouldn't be possible for them. And so you have kids who, if you don't take a kid when they're that young to train to be a Jedi or a Sith, no judgments here. If you don't take them when they're that young, then they'll get it in their head that they can't do it, that it can't be done. And so that's why I think Rey isn't very force capable throughout the rest of her life. I believe that she was when she was very young, and that's why they abandoned her, because it scares the fuck out of her parents. And then that trauma, coupled with everyone telling her, you can't do things like that, it's not possible, retards the ability. And that's why you have lines like Luke going, "It's too big, it's not possible, and I can't believe it," and saying that is why you fail. Because you refuse to believe it's possible. Whereas a kid, if you tell them they can do it, if they just keep going at it, then they will eventually be able to do that. because they don't have the idea that they don't have the idea of failure. They don't have the idea of impossible yet. So that's my theory as to why she doesn't have control over her powers at the beginning of the movie. And now what kickstarts them, besides the interrogation with Kylo Ren, where she's able to like reach inside him and figure out something about him using her senses, there's also the touch of the lightsaber, which gives her all these flashes. And then there's what's her name, the orange lady with the eyes. She has that great speech she gives to her about what the Force is, how it works, and how she has the potential to unlock it. And it's all of that that makes her realize she can. It's all that happening so consistently back to back that unlocks that ability in her again. And that's why her powers are able to skyrocket so quick, coupled with the fact that she is obviously, just from what we see, she's obviously incredibly powerful in the Force. So yeah, there's my fan-splanation of, or my fan theory, whatever, of why Rey has such a command and such a capability in the use of the Force. And I just wanted to pose a little fan theory. It's something that's been running through my head for a while, and so I hope everyone enjoys it. I didn't talk about Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, there we go. She could become a knight of Kylo Ren or whatever. She can invent her own thing. The Jedi and the Sith can both die. The Knights of Kylo Ren. The Knights of Rey, and she could, whatever. Ignore me. So why then is she, even being incredibly skilled, she is still very raw, very undisciplined, and is nowhere near as well trained as we see Kylo Ren is. Like, there's the beginning of the movie where he catches and holds the laser bolt in the air with the Force, and, it seems like it's nothing to him. So why is she able to defeat him? Well, there's a number of things, and I'll start with things that are not Force related. Ren is injured. Kylo Ren is injured in that fight. Not only from Rey, but not only from Chewbacca, like that's the main injury, but also slightly from Finn too during his battle. You see, he gets a couple quick hits and nothing significant, but you see that he's already, like, the fact that he isn't able to take on Finn, who is just a normal person, shows that the injury is very significant. Not able to, but he's his capability is certainly lowered, and that's what the Finn part of that fight shows you, is that he is not at 100%. Second part of it is he is incredibly pissed off right now. He's in this very, very raw emotional state at that point in the film, because he has just killed Han Solo, which he believes in his head is like the ultimate sacrifice that he needed to make to fully embrace the dark side and thus gain more power. And yet, in that same instant is when he's, like, right after that instant, rather, he is at his weakest, because he has just been hit by a bolt, and he's like, just been insulted. His beliefs have just been insulted, because he made an amazing sacrifice on his part that no other Knight of Ren has ever made, as we know from Supreme Leader Snoke's line. He made a gigantic sacrifice that no other Knight of Ren has ever made, and he's immediately shot for it, and it doesn't unlock magically all these things. So he is just unbelievably pissed off, which should make a Sith more powerful. But he's not a Sith. What people seem to miss about Kylo Ren is that he's not he's not Darth Vader, but he wants to be. That's like a very, very central thing to his character. He really, really wants to be Darth Vader, and he just isn't. Um, because the Sith die with Palpatine and Anakin Skywalker. They die with the Emperor and Darth Vader. That's the end of the Sith. Because you got to think about how the rule of two works, where you have maybe slightly less information passed on to apprentice from master over time, but you still have an entire a very large wealth, an entire library of information about dark side force use passed between master and apprentice going back God knows how long. But that's all lost when Vader kills the Emperor and dies himself, without either of them passing further knowledge of the dark side, because you have some dark side trained shadow guards and stuff like that, but nothing truly Sith. So that all dies with them. So Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren are kind of on their own to discover and experiment with the dark side, and so they're certainly capable of doing basic force things like, catching something in air and refining that ability, or sensing things, or even expanding on things, because we've always seen the Jedi mind trick, which certainly implies the ability to do mind control with someone, but the Jedi mind trick was never used in a dark side way to interrogate anyone, at least not that we know of. I think it's hinted at with Leia, but they never really go into that in New Hope. So we have the dark side, which is utilized, like it's being utilized the best the Knights of Ren can, but they're not Sith, which is really important. So you have the fact that he isn't super well trained in the way that Darth Vader or even Count Dooku were, or even Darth Maul for that matter. He is certainly capable with the dark side because he has training from Luke and such, but he's not he's not a master, is what it's coming down to. So he's injured. His training itself isn't complete, and that's incredibly obvious. He's incredibly angry, which doesn't help him, and it should, but it's not, because he's not a Sith. So there's all the baggage that Kylo Ren has going into that fight. Now, what does Rey have on her side? She is unlocking all of her capabilities one by one, left and right there, and is just incredibly emotionally invested, which is really important, because someone that she loves, maybe it's gonna turn out to be a romantic thing, or maybe it'll be more of like a brother, like the way you love a brother or sister kind of thing, but she clearly has a very big emotional connection to Han Solo and to Finn. Han Solo mentor, kind of father-like relationship, and Finn very much some kind of emotional connection to. We just don't know how far it goes yet, like what kind of emotional connection it is yet. But clearly there is one there. I don't think anyone can make the argument that there isn't. So you have Rey, who's got all that emotional investment in it, and if she were a Jedi, that wouldn't be a good thing, because she wouldn't be encouraged to explore and utilize those feelings, but she's able to use that kind of like dark side thing of utilizing your feelings and emotions in order to enable you to fight, which is why she's able to take on Kylo Ren so efficiently. She's almost a better Sith at that point than Kylo Ren is. She's just doing it for the right kinds of reasons, which I find really fascinating. And as I've said before, you got all this unlocked potential that's happening. So there's those two reasons, but I think the chief reason that she's able to so decisively win that battle is because she is realizing all these dreams that she's had growing up. It's all coming true right there. She's finally able to do all the things that she'd hoped for but was never able to leave Jakku that she wanted to do. Um, so everyone's pointing out the parallels with New Hope, and I adore the parallels with New Hope, but it's all very much intentional. It's like the scene where Vader kills Kenobi, and Luke wants to go fight Vader at that point, but is held back, is stopped from doing so. It's all those emotions happening for her. She's just got no one to hold her back from going to fight at that point. So there's so many things that factor into that fight that I find it completely satisfying, and was just absolutely in love with the movie as a whole. Honestly, people complain about the whole squid monster thing on Han Solo's freighter ship, and I don't even give a fuck because it's cool, and it's not like something that isn't in Star Wars anyway. So yeah, I really really enjoyed it. And that's just a brief thought on Force Awakens, and I just want to give some brief thoughts about Rey's capabilities, and how I do feel that they are justified. And, maybe my theory won't pan out about her parents abandoning her there, or her young connection to the Force. I really hope that's the case, because I would really like it if Rey is just completely a Jedi in her own right, has no connection familial to the Force whatsoever, is just a child born with the innate ability to use the Force. That would be great. But yeah, that'll do it. Everyone, thank you for watching. Sorry I didn't get comic reviews up, but you have this instead.